Good evening everyone and welcome to our online chess lesson for Thursday the 14th of February. This is Robert Jamieson here and I'm looking forward to tonight's lesson. We had a few technical problems last week. I tried to chat to some of you guys and the microphones didn't seem to be working very well, but I found 3 or 4 of you who hopefully will be able to talk to us today. So that's great. Now today I have with me in here at Chess Kids Daniel Pob. Hello Daniel.
Hello.
He didn't be that loud, but I've told him to talk fairly loudly so you can all hear him.
So, I like loud.
Yep, all right. You've been in a few times before. Now, remind me, are you 9 or 10 or something? How old are you?
9 turning 10 in a few months.
Okay, and your rating is?
800 and something, but I'm underrating.
All right.
Underrated.
And you played up in the Australian Junior? How did you go up there?
I went pretty well.
You were in, what, under 10s or 12s? Or
under 10s.
Under 10s?
Yeah.
Remember what you scored?
5 out of 9.
5 out of 9, all right, that's pretty good. Okay, well, we'll be looking at 1 or 2 of your games shortly. Now, let's get on to today's puzzle with the bishop and the pawns. Now, do you reckon you've solved it, Daniel, or not?
No.
No, too hard for you? I don't think anyone here has solved it. Some have suggested bishop e4 and bishop a4 and stuff like that. So let me just flick over here to the actual position. Zoom in a bit. Okay. Now, black seems to have set up a pretty impregnable defence because he's got 3 pawns and they can be defended by that bishop or the king. And white's struggling to get in. So what we need is a sneaky way to get in. So for instance, one idea you guys came up with is bishop e4. Now, what would be the idea of that, Daniel, do you think?
Can take the c4 pawn.
To c6, yes. You want to sacrifice here, and then the a pawn will just hoon through and become a queen. So, black has to defend with bishop here. What can we do now, though? Our king can't advance, and if our bishop moves away, say back here or something, he just goes back again. So it looks like it's a draw. But white has a sneaky thing called Zugzwang. Have you ever heard of Zugzwang?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? Can you tell anyone what it is?
Whatever move you do, you lose.
More or less. Let me just have a look here. So Zugzwang, it's a German word for compulsion to move. So it's a situation where one player is at a disadvantage, but if he didn't have to move, his position would be okay. But because he has to move, he more or less has to ruin his position. So can we apply that knowledge of Zugzwang? Any thoughts? Because we nearly had him before, but it was our bishop on e4, his bishop on e8, we couldn't get through. So we had this position with us to move, and we couldn't get through. But if it was black to move, what would happen?
And would probably get one of the...
Well, if his bishop went here, we could take this pawn, couldn't we?
Yeah.
All right. And if his bishop goes here, we could take that pawn. And if his king moves, so it goes here or something, we get in with our king. Okay, so if it were black's go, we would win. So, does that give you an idea?
Maybe.
Can you create the same position with black to move? What if you just wasted the move? So you went there.
Yeah.
All right, he goes back here because he can't move the king. You go there. Zugzwang. You win. So that's a pretty cool concept. So I hope you guys understand Zugzwang. You can occasionally get to use it in your games, usually in the end game. So that was neat. All right, let's move on to today's positions. Okay, now I'll just bring up the correct position, which is here. Okay. Now, I've had Daniel in before, as I said, and when you came in last year, your problem was you loved taking things and swapping off and all that sort of stuff. Daniel had one plan, and that was to swap pieces. which didn't always work that well. Okay. So what I want you guys to do, actually, there's a problem with the younger players especially. You know Oliver, little Oliver, who's 5 or 6 or something. If you watch him play, he basically has 3 or 4 plans. So first plan, if he can take something of yours for nothing, he does it. Second plan, if he can do a swap, piece for piece, he'll do it. Third plan, if he can get you in check, he'll probably check you. If he can't do any of them, he'll think, oh, what can I do? So he'll probably threaten to take. So it's like he's got these 4 plans. And he doesn't really think much about what the other guy's doing or other more subtle ideas. So we need to have a look today and see if we can get players like yourself and Oliver and Elijah and everyone to think a little bit more deeply and come up with some different ideas. So I want you guys to think, let's say you're playing a game, it's your turn to move. The other guy's not threatening anything, you haven't got any threats that are going to be any good. So what sort of questions do you ask yourself to help you find a move, or what ideas do you have? Like, for instance, you could say, okay, if nothing much is happening, my plan is to attack the other guy's king. So you'd say, I want to attack the king. Or another person might say, well, I'm pretty good in the ending, so my plan is to swap off and get in the ending. So I want you in the questions to type what is your plan in that sort of scenario, or maybe what question you ask yourself to help you come up with a move. So have a think and type something in the questions for me for planning. At the moment, there's a deathly silence. No one's come up with any ideas at all. Can you think, oh, here we go. Ryan says, try to force something. We're not talking about this position. We're talking about in general, just in general. It's your turn to move. So little Elijah's looking around. He's thinking, can I take something? That's his plan. Callum says, attack everything. All right, that's possible. Anyone else have any suggestions? You got any other thoughts, Daniel, what you could come up with, an idea? What could you do, apart from swapping and taking and threatening?
Have a strong base, but also some attacking pieces.
Okay. All right, I think we're struggling a bit here, so I'll show you what I do. So I ask myself 2 questions. First question I say is, how can I improve my position? So it might only be a little move. I might just like play h3 so I don't get back rank checkmated or something. So I look around and say, how can I improve my position? And the second question I might ask myself is, can I place my pieces on better squares? So for instance, if I've got a rook in the corner and he's not helping, I might want to bring him out to an open file. Or if I've got a knight that's in the middle of the board and I can move him forward to a really strong square, I'll do that. So this is what I want to talk to you guys about today, whether you can ask yourself these questions. How can I improve my position, and can I place my pieces on better squares? So we're going to have a look at 1 or 2 of Daniel's games and keeping these questions in mind and seeing if we can help Daniel find some better moves than he actually turned up with in the game. Okay, so let's go back. So for instance, this is one of your games from the Australian Junior, and the guy just played rook f2. So is he threatening something?
My pawn and my rook. Yeah, basically my pawn.
He's threatening the pawn on f4. So he's threatening to win this pawn here on f4 for nothing. Trying to get my red squares working here. So if it was his go, he could just take it, couldn't he?
Yeah.
All right. So it's not his go, it's your go. So what should you do?
Trying to defend it, or...
Yeah, you should try and defend it. Do you remember what you did in the actual game?
No.
No? Okay, what you did, you attacked his rook.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, I've got to attack, I'll take his rook. And of course, he just took the pawn.
Yeah.
You're pawn down.
Yes, I am. And now
Okay.
I am stuck.
Yeah, and you should have lost, so I think you swindled the draw. but that was like the sort of example where we came up with the wrong idea, where we said, what can I attack? Whereas we should have said, hang on, he's attacking my pawn. Can I save it? How can I defend it? All right, now let's look at a full game. I can find the next game.
This one.
Do you remember this one? Against
I don't remember the move.
Brendan Shaw?
I remember that I was winning and then I lost something, I think.
Okay. All right, well let's hide the moves and get started. Okay, so you're black. So off we go. Alpen Sicilian. All right, so I often say to you guys that one of the aims of the opening is to get 2 pawns side by side. So here, White's achieved his aim. He's got the lovely 2 central pawns. So he should be quite happy with that. But maybe Daniel can attack them. So you start off bringing out the knight, attacking the pawn. He defends. This is all pretty normal. Moves the bishop out. You fianchetto. He moves the queen up.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think he's up to?
Planning to try and attack my fianchetto bishop.
So you think he's probably coming, whoops, hang on, wrong arrow, sorry. So again, he's probably wanting to come up here.
Yeah.
And then he wants to swap off your good bishop there,
Yeah.
perhaps. All right, looks like a reasonable plan. All right. Now, we've moved the piece twice in the opening. Now, normally that's a bit naughty, isn't it? We say don't move the piece twice in the opening. All right, so you must have a really good reason for moving it. So what's your idea?
One, to stop him going into h6.
Mm-hmm.
And as well as that, I'm planning to swap it off for a knight and not the good bishop.
Right, so you're planning to get his good bishop here on e3.
Yeah.
All right, so that's probably a pretty reasonable idea. So he plays bishop f4. He doesn't want to lose your bishop. You come out. Now you've got a double attack going on his d pawn.
Yeah.
So he defends it with developing move. So this is all pretty normal. And now you do something a little bit radical here. e5.
Yeah.
All right.
I should really be doing this.
So you're regretting that a bit now, or what do you think?
Not that sure.
Okay. So what's the good bit and what's the bad bit about playing e5?
Good bit is it gets rid of these 2 central pawns. Bad bit is it blocks my bishop for a little while.
Okay. Is it sort of like an attacking move? Sort of threatening his bishop and his pawn and stuff?
Yeah.
All right. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, are you ready to attack? Have you made your king safe? Have you got your men out? Is it sort of like the right time to attack, or is it perhaps a bit early?
Maybe a tiny bit early, but...
All right, could be a bit early, but if it works, if you get that pawn in the centre and get rid of his 2 centre pawns side by side, that's probably going to be okay.
Mm.
All right, so let's see what happens. You go e5. Now he should take, but he makes a little bit of a mistake, perhaps. He plays bishop back. You happy?
Bishop, yeah.
Now, are you taking just because you really love taking, or...
No,
all right, so why are you taking? What's
to prevent him attacking that fianchetto bishop.
But he can't go up to that square anymore. You've got that square covered on h6. All right, so how do we... all right.
I don't want my knight pinned down there forever.
Okay. Perhaps I'll get a little bit of help from someone. Let's ask Derek. You there, Derek? Say hello to me, Derek. Nope, Derek's not talking to me. All right. I shall try Lucas then. Are you there, Lucas?
Yes.
Hi. Now, you're looking at the position there?
Yes.
All right, now Daniel's thinking that he might want to play knight takes bishop. So the knight on g4, he's thinking about swap for this bishop on e3. Now, do you think that'd be a good swap or a bad swap?
a bad swap because that bishop is kind of confined, and because your knight is active.
Okay, so what question do we ask ourselves to work out whether it's a good swap or a bad swap? Can you think of a question that would help us work it out?
Is that a good bishop?
Pretty close.
Or is it,
I think the question we should ask. Yep, have another go. What do you want?
Is it threatening any of our pieces?
Could be. What I'm thinking of is if we want to trade pieces, we have to say which is the better piece. So is my knight really good and I don't want to give it up for that bad bishop, or that's a really good bishop and my knight's only so-so, so I want to get rid of that really good bishop. So we say which is the better piece. So in this position,
knight.
Okay, you think knight. Daniel, do you think knight or bishop?
Not quite sure.
All right.
Not quite sure.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucas. All right, well, I think the bishop is going to be a pretty strong piece unless it's captured. I mean, his pawns are going to be on white squares on d5 and e4, and the queen's backing up the bishop. So I reckon that's going to be a good bishop. So I would definitely take it. So you took, he took. Excellent. Right. So that's probably a slightly better exchange for you because he's got double pawns now.
Yeah.
But even though they're in the centre, so they're controlling a bit of space, so it's sort of double-edged. Yeah. Okay, guys, what move should Daniel play now? I want to put your thinking cap on. Daniel's thinking maybe he should do castles. So you type in the questions what move you would do if you were black. Joe's saying bishop g4 would be the move he might look at. Oliver wants to play knight b4. Lucas wants to swap off, I presume he means pawns. Anyone else have any thoughts? Yep, Lucas wants to swap pawns. Thomas and Greg want a castle. Callum wants bishop e6.
I think pawns just gives him the double, the 2 pawns side by side.
Hang on. Ryan's going f6. Well, we're getting a lot of different moves. All right, let's see. Callum, bishop e6. Probably not the greatest move because he's going to play d5. So that would be a bit tragic. Okay, what else did we have? We had knight b4 from Oliver. Now the question is, what on earth is your knight doing out there on b4? Doesn't threaten anything, and it's moving a piece twice in the opening, and you're moving it from a good square to a bad square.
And also, once he swaps off, you can...
So that would be a bad one. Okay, now, Daniel, someone suggested taking the pawns, so takes, you don't like that. No. All right, explain to us why you don't like that.
It just gives him, just takes away his double pawns, and also he has 2 pawns.
Yeah, he's got the 2 pawns again in the centre side by side, which is generally pretty good. And it's undoubled his pawns. So,
and as well as that, it's pretty hard to do any counterplay in the center.
Yeah, so taking would be a bad one. See, we shouldn't be scared of him taking us because we take back, and now he's got those 2 horrible isolated pawns.
I'll take back with the pawn.
I'd take back with the pawn.
Taking back with the pawn just blocks in your own pawn and your bishop.
But, all right, so if we take with the pawn, if we take with the knight, now the trouble is, we've then got this backward pawn on an open file, and he can gang up on that with his queen and his rook, and we'll be all defensive. So that probably wouldn't be the best. Okay, so taking is bad. Usually castles was the move that you wanted to play, Daniel, which was the best. In the game, you were naughty and you took the pawn.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of a mistake. All right, but you know better now. You want a castle now, so that's all good. Okay. Now you castled. He developed his bishop to e2. Okay, what do you think you should do now with black?
Try and develop the bishop. That's on c8.
Okay, so how would you know where to put it? Because it's got lots of different squares it can go to. It can go all the way out here or all the way up to here. So which would be the best one?
Probably G4.
Probably G4. So why would G4 be good?
Because it's a little pin.
Yeah, bishop G4 would be pretty good because you're putting pressure on the knight, and now you've also got double attack going on the D pawn. So if you can get rid of that knight, you might be able to win the D pawn. So it's like you're developing a piece to a good square with a bit of attack. Right. But in the game you did something a little bit different. You played queen out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you're still attacking the D pawn. Now what would be the disadvantage of bringing a queen out? Because normally we say that's a bit naughty, isn't it? Unless there's a real good reason. What happens when you bring your queen out early?
It gets attacked.
It gets attacked. So is there a way white could attack it?
Yeah.
Couldn't he just sort of come up here? And then you've probably got to go back again.
Yeah.
So you've given him a free forward attacking move.
Yeah.
Queen F6. Okay. Anyway, so he didn't do that one. He pushed past. All right, so he's hitting a knight. You went up here. Could have gone to E4 maybe. And we had a bit of a swap off. So he goes swap. This is great. We're swapping pieces. You love this, don't you? He goes swap, swap. Fantastic. We've had 2 swaps in a row. So you're really happy. But he now castles and he's attacking our bishop. All right, so now hang on. So there's lots and lots of spots we could put this bishop. Let me have a think. We could drop it back here. We could drop it back here. We could go here and check him. We could drop it back here. All sorts of spots. Maybe, or we could take the knight. So there's like all different options. So wait a minute. So let's have a little poll. I want you guys to put your thinking cap on. So your bishop's attacked, and I've suggested 5 plausible spots to put it. So it can either take on C3, check on E3, drop back to C5, drop back to E5, or go to G7. So I want you to all think, which one would you choose? And I'll launch the poll. So I'll give you 5 more seconds, then we'll launch the poll and you can all vote. Don't write in the questions, we're going to have a poll. All right, here we go. So tick which one you prefer. Bishop takes C3, bishop E3 check, bishop C5, bishop E4 or bishop G7. So at the moment bishop E3 check is equal with bishop takes C3. The others are all getting some support. Still a few more people to vote. Bishop E3 checks hit the lead. And it's zooming up, 100% voted. All right, fantastic. So let's close the poll. Let's have a look at the results here. So what have we got? So the winner is bishop E3 check, 46%. Runner-up is bishop takes knight, 23%. Bishop G7 got 15%. Bishop E4 only got 8%. Bishop C5 only got 8%. Right, now get back to Daniel. Which one did you vote for, Daniel?
Bishop G7.
Bishop G7. So why do you want to drop your bishop back to G7?
I don't want to take an attack before I've got all my pieces out.
Okay. But I mean, you could drop it back to C5 or E5. Why did you choose G7?
It's a little more solid and defensive.
It's sort of safer there, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me talk to someone. Who can we try? You there, Joe?
Yeah,
Talk to
hi.
me, Joe. Hi. Which one did you
Hello.
choose, Joe?
I chose
You
to
ready?
take the knight.
Take the knight. All right. Tell us why you want to take the knight.
Not because of the swap as the main reason. It's that when I capture the knight and he takes back with the
pawn, yep.
pawn,
Yep.
I can move my bishop on c8 out and get a rook down on the file.
Okay, so you think you'll have attacking chances on the C file. That's why you chose taking the knight. Okay, all right, thank you very much. That was interesting. All right, we'll see if Derek's going to talk to me. You there, Derek? Derek, say something? No? All right, never mind. So, how do we choose again when we're doing a swap? When we want to talk about bishop takes knight, how do we decide whether it's a good swap?
Which piece is better?
All right, so which piece is better, the bishop or the knight?
The bishop.
I reckon the bishop, because he hasn't got a dark squared bishop and his pawn's on white squares, so our bishop can sort of do what it likes. So bishop takes knight, anyone who picked bishop takes knight, that would be a bad swap because we're swapping a good bishop for a pretty average sort of knight. All right, now most of you, if not pretty well 90% of you, got the answer wrong. Bishop e3 check was the most popular. What do you think of that one, Daniel?
It's attacking, but with only one piece.
Okay.
I think is really necessary.
It's a sort of move Oliver would do, wouldn't it? Because it's a check. Fantastic. We've got him in check. But that doesn't do anything. So, can you remember the questions I wanted to ask myself? What was the second one? Do you remember? Where do I want my...
What's the best square for my pieces?
Yes, yes. So my bishop is attacked. Right, I don't want to check him, waste of time. I don't want to take his knight, but I want to put my bishop on a really good square. Now, you sure that G7 is the best square?
Well, E5 doesn't look too bad.
E5, okay. I think E5 looks fantastic because my bishop is now in the middle of the board, so he's attacking on the queen side, he's attacking on the king side, and how the hell are you going to get rid of him? The rook's can't get rid of him, the bishop can't get rid of him, the knight's going to take forever to be in a position to annoy him, so that's going to be a really strong bishop.
Yeah.
So see, if you ask yourself the right question, you get the right answer.
Yeah.
So if you ask my question, where do I want my pieces? What's the best square for the piece? That would have been good. All right, but we didn't do that in the game. Back in those old days, back in January, you were in check mode, so you went for the check.
Really?
Yep. All right. He ran away. Okay, and you then developed your bishop to there. Doesn't look too bad, I guess. Yep, so you connected your rooks. He went there. Okay, now we've got our pieces, our two bishops developed. We haven't developed our rooks. He's got a few weaknesses. What should we do as black? So you guys on the question, hang on Daniel, you keep your powder dry. We'll see what the others think. So type in on the questions. If you're Daniel playing black here, what move would you make here? Ryan reckons he was the only one who voted for bishop e5. So if that was true, Ryan, well done. All right, now Lucas is playing rook c8. He hasn't told us which rook. Probably the A rook, I'm hoping. Joe going rook a to c8. Anyone else want to have a go? Rook c8 is looking pretty popular. Thomas and Greg like rook c8. Ryan likes f5. Callum wants to play bishop a4 or something, which doesn't seem to be terribly brilliant. Oliver wants bishop f2. I've got no idea why. What the bishop will want to go f2. a5. All right, so it looks like rook c8 is the most popular. What do you think, Danny? What would you do?
Yeah, rook c8, but I think I actually want f5. Sure.
Okay, so let's go back. So what you actually did, you did f5. All right, now this is interesting.
think I was trying to get my bishop onto a better spot.
So your idea is he's going to take and your bishop's going to take back, and the bishop will be in a better spot. Is that that's the plot?
I think that was what I was thinking back then.
All right. Okay. So we need to decide whether this f5 is a better move than what we've been talking about, where we're going for rook c8 from the look of things.
Yeah.
All right. So let's have another little poll. So I want you guys to vote good or bad. f5, is that a good idea now that you've seen it, or is that a bad idea?
Average.
No, we're only going good or bad. There's no in between. I'll give you 5 seconds to have a look at it. Do you think f5 is a good move for Daniel or a bad move? I'll launch the poll. All right, off we go. Good or bad? So far, bad's hit the lead with 100%. But not many people have voted. Good's got a few votes now. 62% have voted. Come on, 77% have voted. Bad's in the lead with 82. A few more people to vote. Close the poll in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 82% bad, 18% good. Bad. So they're telling us it's bad. Oh dear. All right. Who can we talk to? We'll see if Sam's there. You there, Sam? Say something to me, Sam. Nope. All right. Can work with Sam. We'll try Thomas and Greg. Thomas and Greg, can you hear me? No? I think quite a few of you guys haven't got your microphones on. All right, we'll go back to Joe. You there, Joe? Did you vote good or bad?
Yeah.
Which one did you vote, good or bad?
I meant to click good, but I accidentally clicked bad and my mouse slipped.
Ah, all right. So why is it a good move?
I just like it because if white captures f5, the black bishop can recapture with a check, which isn't really important. It's just getting your bishop good and
In a
your
good spot
rook's
with
on
it.
an open file.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe. Okay. So let's go back and have a look. So Daniel, good or bad?
I think I don't need to do that quite yet.
Yes, that's exactly the point. It's like you're attacking and you're not really ready. And for instance, this pawn here, is that a weak pawn or a strong pawn?
Weak.
Why?
Because it's in the center.
It's on a half-open file, so you can put your rooks here,
Yeah.
and you can attack it, and it can't be defended by another pawn. So that's a weak pawn. So what you'd be doing is you'd be swapping your pawn for his really weak pawn, getting rid of one of his weaknesses.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if we get back to my questions, the first one I said to myself is, how can I improve my position? Okay, so rook c. So I would certainly look at rook c8. My worry is his knight might come up here, and then he's attacking both the pawn on d6 and over here that's protected by the bishop. And I don't want to swap bishop for knight because then I have bishop opposite colour. So were it me, I think I would just put my pawn here to keep his knight out of play. So I made a little move, just improving my position. Right, then next move, I'll probably move my rook across. Then I might think about rook here or something, but I'm sort of like building up, putting the pressure on slowly. I'm not attacking straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got to be able to play with more than the plan of just going for the attack. All right, so let's see what happened anyway. You went f5. Oh, he didn't take. He's attacking your bishop. You ran away, and he played that. That looks like a bit of a funny move. Now, you took him. He took back. Now you have a good tactical chance here because his pieces are unprotected there in the middle. Can you remember what tactical move you played here?
Rook e8.
You could play rook e8. Let's say this rook, attacking his knight, but the knight would probably drop back there, and it looks like he's got everything defended. Any other idea? So look at pieces we can attack. This is one of those positions where we can attack something because he's got loose pieces.
Oh yeah, it was bishop b5.
Yeah, Lucas has spotted it. Bishop b5.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. So that's very good because now the poor old rook, he can't come to e3 and he can't come to d2 because the bishop is zapping. So how's he going to defend his bishop? So White decided, oh dear, I better let that rook go, and he grabbed the pawn. So you grab the rook. So you want to exchange for pawn. Pretty good. All right, but now he's at, there's other bits on, so it doesn't much matter.
Yeah.
All right, he's attacking the b pawn now, so he's maybe threatening knight takes b7, get 2 pawns for the exchange. So I want you guys to help Daniel. What should Daniel do now? What move would you like to play for black? We need some suggestions. Yeah, we'll get to that later. What move should Daniel play here? So Joe and Lucas have both gone b6. So that would keep the pawn protected. Anyone else got any other ideas? What can Daniel do? Derek goes rook f6. Maybe, but you're going to drop the b pawn. Joe's gone rook f2 exclamation mark. Maybe. Anyone else have any ideas?
Rook f2.
f3, attacking the bishop, rook d8. What would you like to do, Daniel? What do you think?
b6 doesn't look bad.
b6, all right. b6 is sort of like the obvious move, but it does put all your pawns on black squares over here and weakens your white squares. And he might be able to set up a blockade. Now, remember how I said to myself, where do I want my pieces? So I would say, okay.
Or you can do rook d.
Could do rook d8, but my b pawn. So I'm a bit worried about that b pawn, but I could say, where do I want my pieces? Now this bishop here on h6, is that a good spot for the bishop? Is it doing anything exciting here? Where would the better spot be?
e5.
So it can't go like that.
Yeah.
So where can it go from h6 that would be better?
I think it's.
What about here?
Yeah, do so.
All right, and then if he takes the pawn, what can we do?
Rook b1.
We can go rook here.
Rook b8, sorry.
Yeah, so when the knight moves, zap, we're in. We're all over his king. So, if you use my question about where do I want my pieces and have a look at bishop g7, you can see that you don't really need to play b6. But we did b6 anyway. He put his rook there. We hit his knight. Knight moved away. You moved your pawn. Good move, or should do something different?
Taking isn't that bad.
Taking. You want to take on d5? You want to do this one?
It's not too bad.
Not too bad? You're right. It's absolutely horrible. You missed the pin.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, all right. Yeah, a5, again, you're moving your pawns forward where maybe they can get attacked later. Maybe just rook here. So that protects it and moves your rooks to cover the second rank. So that's improving the position of your rook. So again, where do I want my pieces? You know, it might be just a smidgen better. All right, so he went a5, knight back. Now that was sneaky because you fell for it. Stuffed up. Now, did you just say, oh, free pawn, I'm taking it? You didn't think, oh, danger, warning. Maybe it's not a blunder.
I'm taking.
Yeah, maybe it's a trap. You're in take mode. You think, oh, I can take something. Look. But we have to say, what's he...
What it for? Right.
Yeah, we have to say, what's he going to reply? And, of course, he's got this horrible pin. So, but we are the exchange up, so big deal. All right, so we protect our rook.
You could have won it.
Right. All right, now hang on. All right. So, interesting position here. Put your tactics caps on, guys. I want you to tell me what you would play as white in this position. Do you just take that rook and it gets back even material? Or is there something else you could do? Daniel's chafing at the bit to say something. So white to play. So Ryan's looking at knight e6. Joe's looking at knight f5. Lucas is looking at knight c6. Thomas and Greg like knight e6. Callum likes knight c6. Benji likes knight e6. We're getting a few different moves around the place. Which one do you like, Daniel?
Knight f5.
Nope. The best one would have been knight here.
What's so bad that one?
So hang on. Now we're threatening to win the rook for free, and we're also got this sneaky threat here.
Yeah, no, but that.
So
it's the same thing with.
So white ends up a piece up.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with knight f5.
So, but same thing with knight f5. You go knight f5. Pawn takes knight. How is it the same? You just lost a knight.
Yay!
No good.
Because I'm black.
All right, but you were lucky. He just took you.
Yeah.
You took back, so
Lucky
we're back
black.
to even, Stephen.
Lucky
And
black.
now you have this nice pin.
Yeah.
All right, what should you do here? You've got him pinned, but it's even material, and you can't really.
f7.
Maybe, maybe not. Any other thoughts?
b5.
B5 is what you did. What you should do, you need something else to attack while he's all tied down with the pin. So the best move would probably be here. So for instance, if he takes, you can take with the rook, and he's now got to defend this pawn.
Yeah.
So like he comes here, you could play rook here. Certainly bishop takes knight. When the rook takes, you pick up the pawn.
Yeah.
You might be able to steal a pawn out of it.
Yeah.
But okay, but you did the fairly obvious move, b5. He went up here, check, king up, back. Now, are there any danger signs for you here?
Kind of with king b5.
I'm a bit worried that his king is going to come in here and start gobbling all these pawns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a concern. Okay, so he went there. Now you're starting to do some stuff up here. You're bringing your king in. Check. There. All right. What should you do here, do you think?
Rook a8.
Rook d8 is possible to go back and do.
a8.
Rook a8, then you're all on the defensive.
Yeah.
Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. He probably played knight here. And you're on the defensive and you're losing. Okay, you could look at rook here, hoping he comes back again, and maybe you might have a repetition. All right, what you actually went, you went down here. Now this is a bit double-edged. He took, you took. So you've got a pass pawn, but he's got it covered. And meanwhile, Houston, we have a problem. He's going to grab our pawn over here. So you think you're winning, losing, drawing here? What do you think?
Close to losing.
Close to losing, yeah. I think I'm worried about him taking that pawn. So you come up with your king, takes the pawn, rotten so-and-so. You attacked his pawn, so you're trying to get counterplay, that's the right thing. And he did a bit of a boo-boo now. He should just move his king out of the way and run with his pawn, and you're hard-pressed because he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves, he can get a queen.
Yeah.
But he wasted one of them to go there. So what can you do now?
King e4.
Yeah, you can rush in with your king and try and help that c pawn. So you rushed in. He went there. All right. Critical position. So white's got 2 passed pawns. It's going to be very hard for us to stop, but we've got a c pawn, but he's got it covered. All right, so hang on, wait, we'll give the guys a chance. So, black to play, what do you reckon Daniel can play? Because he might have a move that might be able to save the game or even win the game. Black to play, what would you guys choose? Think about your pieces. Callum's got c4, which isn't legal. That wasn't much good, Callum. So think about activating your pieces, putting your pieces on good squares. Our king's on a good square. King d2. It's going to run around to b2 maybe. Bishop c5 from Joe isn't legal. C2 or bishop E5, bishop F8 from Callum. No one's got it yet? You see a good move for black, Daniel?
Is it
Okay, what you could have done, you could get your bishop. Oh, hang on, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm in the wrong mode. I'll just get rid of that. Right, you could have brought your bishop in here. Let's say he pushes his pawn. Now you attack this pawn. He keeps pushing. You take. He keeps pushing. You stop it just in time. He tries to come up, but you've got the runner. Look at this. Oh, and I think you get a queen first, don't you?
Yeah.
So you possibly could even end up winning. So bishop d4. It'd be hard. It's a hard move to see. What you actually did was bishop there.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have much counterplay. We had to get his knight and these two rotten pawns. We got one of them, but we couldn't get the other one. So we came second. But a really interesting game, up and down. All right. But I'm hoping I demonstrated in that game to you guys that there's more to chess than just taking and checking and swapping and everything. Yeah. And try and remember those two things that I said. Just remind me, Daniel, what were we? How can I improve my position?
Yeah.
And can I place my pieces on better squares? So if you ask yourself those questions, you'll probably come up with pretty good moves.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for coming along today for the lesson, Daniel. We hope you guys enjoyed it. And I think I've got Michael coming in next week. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Good night.
For your